Mary I was a woman of many titles: Mary Tudor, Queen of England and Ireland, Queen of Spain, and even Defender of the Faith. But to many, she was simply known as Bloody Mary for her fiery reputation and her pursuit of Catholicism in Protestant England. Born on February 18, 1516, Mary was the daughter of King Henry VIII and his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. Despite being the king's only surviving child for many years, her early life was fraught with turmoil, as her father sought to annul his marriage to Catherine and marry his mistress, Anne Boleyn. When her father passed a series of laws that separated England from Rome and made him the head of the newly established Church of England, Mary remained steadfast in her Catholic faith and was a fierce defender of the Catholic Church. After the death of her half-brother, King Edward VI, in 1553, Mary seized the throne from Lady Jane Grey, who had been proclaimed queen by a group of Protestant nobles. Lady Jane Grey, known as the 9-Day Queen, was ultimately beheaded at age of 17. Mary, as the new queen, immediately set about undoing the religious reforms of her father and half-brother, returning England to the Catholic faith and ordering the execution of many Protestant leaders, earning her the infamous nickname Bloody Mary. During her 5-year reign, Mary had over 280 religious dissenters burned at the stake in the Marian persecutions. Mary's life was full of challenges and struggles. She faced a great deal of political and religious opposition during her reign, as she sought to restore Catholicism as the dominant religion in England. Mary's legacy was further tainted by the loss of Calais, England's last lands in Europe, to the French during her reign. Mary married Philip II of Spain in 1554, but the marriage was largely unpopular with the English people who feared that England's independence and sovereignty may be affected. She suffered several false pregnancies and never had a child. Her marriage was marked by political tensions and personal sorrow. Sadly, Mary's reign was plagued by illness, and she died on November 17, 1558, at the age of 42. Despite her controversial reign, Mary was a strong and determined woman who never wavered in her beliefs, and her legacy as England's first Queen Regnant continues to intrigue people to this day. She believed that the Protestant faith was a threat to the salvation of her subjects and was willing to do whatever it took to return England to the true faith. Let's see what Mary has to say about this.
As Mary I of England, I understand that history has not been kind to me and that I have been accused of being a tyrant and earning the moniker Bloody Mary. While I cannot deny that there were executions during my reign, I believe it is important to understand the context of the time and the challenges I faced. When I came to the throne in 1553, England was deeply divided and there were many powerful forces working against me. There were those who opposed my Catholic faith, and others who saw me as a threat to their own ambitions. I was determined to restore England to the Catholic faith, which I believed was the true faith, and to establish my own authority as Queen. The executions that occurred during my reign were primarily of Protestant heretics who refused to renounce their beliefs and convert to Catholicism. While I understand that this may seem harsh by modern standards, it was a common practice at the time and was considered necessary to maintain the unity of the realm and prevent civil unrest. I also faced a rebellion led by Thomas Wyatt in 1554, which threatened to plunge the country into civil war. While the rebellion was put down with force, it was necessary to maintain my rightful place as Queen and prevent further bloodshed. I understand that my actions may be seen as controversial, but I acted with the best interests of England and its people in mind. I ask that history judge me fairly and not simply through the lens of those who opposed me and my Catholic faith.
Well, we just heard Mary speak, and we would advise to consider Mary's statement in the context of the time in which she lived. It is important to recognize that the political and religious landscape of 16th century England was complex and vastly different from that of today. Religious persecution and the use of force to maintain political power were common practices at the time. At the same time, it is important to acknowledge that Mary's actions did result in significant human suffering and loss of life. Mary I was succeeded by her Protestant half-sister, Queen Elizabeth I, which marked the beginning of the Elizabethan era.